I know I've shared this in the past, but I don't think that there's anything better than a good cup of hot tea on a very gross rainy day outside. Oh yeah, that's really good. Okay, y'all are gonna have to excuse my mess, but I kept going back and forth on trying to figure out what I wanted to share with you guys today, but I wanted to kind of take a pause and just do a little bit of an introduction. I've had a lot of new subscribers in a very short period of time, so you gotta bear with me because I'm trying to play catch up, as well as continue to just be me and share just what we're doing here on our homestead and in our apothecary. Lately, a lot of the videos have been in here, and that's because, well, it's kind of gross outside and I don't really have much going on. I want to show you guys the bees, but I can't really get in there because it's too cold and the bees don't need me right now. They're in there doing their thing. But come this spring, oh, I'm excited because you know what that means. It's gonna be swarm season. We're gonna be talking about making splits. I'm gonna be taking you guys and doing some hive inspections, as well as, you know, encouraging and teaching people how to get into bees and what to do. But with that being said, I have had a lot of new subscribers. I recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and I'm averaging over 100 new subscribers a day. I'm still very much taken back by that because I am nobody special. I am nobody different. I just take my camera and take you guys and share with you guys things that I love. Part of what I'm doing. And I'm excited. I'm excited because more people are wanting to get into this. So many people are wanting to get into herbalism. So many people are wanting to grow a garden, raise animals, keep bees, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think the more people that do and share, it's contagious. You know, if you start growing a garden and start planting things, and then you harvest it and you dry it and you turn it into a tea that you can drink and enjoy, and then share that with somebody, you don't know who you're going to encourage and inspire. And I keep telling myself that. My biggest prayer that I have had since day one, but my biggest prayer is for me to remain humble and continuing to do what I think is good. I look at the number and I see like how many people are following me, but I don't look at it like that. You know, I don't look at it like, ooh, I've got this many people. That's not what I look at. The number are people that just want something good. That's what I look at. So I'm going to introduce myself because I feel like every once in a while a good introduction is good. It also continues to help me remember that I am still me, and that I'm still doing what I think is good. So my name is Kaylee. I am a homesteader. I am an herbalist. This is the apothecary. We call it the Beekeeper's Apothecary. I have a husband that I have been married to now for, oh gosh, this is 17 years. Oh gosh, I hope I don't mess that up. Okay, I'm right. Woo, that is happening. I've been married with my husband for 17 years. We have 2 kids together, and we decided to make a difference in our life, and we wanted to change, and we wanted to leave our first home to start our homestead. Now I have gone a little bit more in depth on our podcast. I only have 2 podcasts put out as of right now, but I'm at least trying to share 1 podcast a week. I think Wednesday's going to be that Wednesday. I think Wednesday's going to be the day that the podcasts are coming out. And my plan is to share it first thing in the morning so that, you know, people can listen as they drive into work. But the podcast, I feel like is more about right now, at least in this phase of the podcast, is more about kind of the behind the scenes before I started sharing on YouTube and Instagram. When we first started homesteading, I didn't really document it. I mean, I took pictures and I shared, but I didn't really do this. And outside of this and the camera, I am a homesteader. That's the first thing. Homesteading is number 1. I don't homestead to create content. I treat the content that I share like a part-time job, even though it is a lot more hours than what many people realize. Whether it's filming or editing, I still do all of my editing. And I don't know if I'm ready to give that up or if I want to give that up, but it's something that I enjoy. And I love the creative aspect of sharing something that I believe is beautiful, and that I believe that I need to sometimes pause and relish in the fact that there is so much beauty that is around. And since day 1, since I've been sharing content, granted, if you go back and look at some of my earlier videos, it was very awkward, you know, like, what do I do with my hands? That is how I felt in the beginning. Throughout the years, it's gotten a little easier to kind of share and open up and be vulnerable and share good and the bad and the ugly, because I don't want to paint a picture that's like a facade. You know, I don't want to show something that is not real. For the future with the podcast, my plan is to really kind of hit home on certain topics that I feel like people could benefit from. Lessons in life. We call it putting tools in our toolbox, and how, you know, people have been able to grow, because that's what life is about. It's about growing. We don't need to stay stagnant. We don't need to stay in the place that we feel stuck in. And that's something that I want to start kind of getting into. YouTube will continue. I will continue to share stories. I will continue to share daily things, vlogs, what we're doing, taking you guys out and forage, taking you guys, you know, here into the apothecary and showing you what the next step is and what can you do. Again, it's putting tools in your toolbox. And then of course the beekeeping, that still, honey, we're the honeystead, okay? It is homestead and honey, you know, and you just kind of put it together. I have received a lot of questions recently, which is, it's great. I do try to answer them, specifically if it's on email or if it's a comment or a question underneath a YouTube video. I do try, but you have to understand it is just me doing that aspect, and as much as I treat creating content and sharing with you guys as a part-time job, my full-time is all of this, you know, all the homesteading, all of the raising my family and being a mother and being a wife. So just bear with me. I am trying to get there. I did put out like a post on Instagram where I shared that if you had a question to ask, maybe I could address it in a comment. I think we got a lot of questions, so bear with me. I think that is going to probably be a podcast video in the future, trying to navigate and answer those questions. Whether you guys have been following me for a little while or this is the very first video you've ever watched, I did want to just kind of introduce myself again and share with you a little bit more of what we are doing, what is happening on the Honeystead and what's coming to the Honeystead, and kind of all of the above. Our homestead is located in Virginia, and so our growing zone is 6B. A lot of these herbs that we have behind here, yes, I have foraged for and I've grown, and I've also ethically sourced and purchased from reputable companies. One of them is Frontier. Star West Botanicals is great. I like Pacific Botanicals as well, and Mountain Rose is also another really good source to come by. I recently shared a video about medicinal seeds that we're going to be starting, and they are from Haas Tools. I have a link that I'll put down below, and you can kind of go through and look under their herbs section and see some of the plants that they're going to offer. And the reason why I talk about seeds is because it's the regenerative aspect. So when I go out and I forage or when I grow, I have to think about the next year. If I harvest all of my flowers from chamomile and I don't leave any seeds, then I might not have chamomile the next year. So there are a few different seed companies out there, Haas Tools being one of the newest ones that are starting to offer medicinal seeds, like mullein, okay? Things that I might take for granted, in all honesty, because it is growing everywhere. But what I realize that a lot of people don't have is they don't have the place to forage for, or that unknown of being able to go out and comfortably harvest and forage wild native plants. So bringing them in, growing them, those are good ways and good places to start. And I shared this in one of the last videos, but it's going to help kind of grow your relationship with the plants and make you a little bit more comfortable with them, understanding them, seeing how they grow. And then, of course, what I have planned for the future is taking you guys along with us and showing you how we dry them, how we tincture them, how you make them in a tea, decoct them, whatever we might be doing. I want to just take you guys with me. The other question that I received quite often is schooling and education. So herbal medicine is one that you can actually self-study. You can do the research and you can learn and grow your apothecary, home apothecary for yourself in your home. You don't need an apothecary to become an herbalist. You can do this in your kitchen. There are some really good sources out there. There are schools if you don't want to self-study and you want to actually attend a school or go virtual. The school that I attended was Green Comfort School of Herbal Medicine. Teresa was my teacher, and she still is my teacher, and I absolutely love her. I did the apothecary portion with her, as well as the foundations of herbal medicine. And then we also spent time together, and I helped her and worked in her clinic, along with a handful of other students and my mother. And for me, I think the hands-on experience was probably the absolute best thing that we needed, in all honesty. We needed that. My background with herbs is something that I've always known, okay? We've always used herbs, but never to this degree. And that's where that uncertainty in me that I had, I just needed that. I needed that boost. I needed that kind of like kick in the butt. Kaylee, come on, you got this. And it's okay if you're the type of person that has to do something like hands-on in person, because that's really how I am. When I want to learn something, I completely submerge myself in it. I want all of it. I want to just give it 100% and understand every single bit of what I'm doing, whether it's beekeeping, gardening, homesteading, herbs, all of that. There are a few sources out there that you can check out and see what schools are in your area. If you go to the American Herbalist Guild, I'm a member of that. I'm actually in pursuit of becoming a registered herbalist, and I am currently logging all of my intakes, my clients, my hours spent studying and researching and going to courses and doing webinars, and just, again, that's the type of person I am. I want all of it. But you can check and see what type of schools are in your area, or even virtual ones as well. If that's not your speed, if you want to kind of study more on yourself, 100% go for it. I mean, you can absolutely start where you are at. And there are some really good books out there that are great for home study. It just depends on the type of individual that you are. Are you the type of learner that do you want to know more of the scientific aspect of it, or do you want to learn more of the stories, the folk? I actually kind of like both. I like to learn the folk. I want to learn the stories and the history of these plants, but I also want to understand the scientific aspect of it. So there are a few books out there that I do think are great for starting. I think that they are amazing resources. I have quite a bit of a collection of different books that I have here in the apothecary. And the reason is because honestly, I am a firm believer that, you know, I know that there's technology out there that you can pretty much Google anything. However, this kind of goes back to my childhood, and I'm gonna pull up a seat because I think I need to share this. So growing up, living up on the mountain in Virginia, we would lose power quite often, and we didn't have internet, you know, like this. Okay, like, we're so blessed, but are we really? So we lost power a lot. And so I think that has instilled something in me that hasn't brought up a fear. Okay, I'm not afraid to lose power, but I would not like the fear of if I needed to know something and I didn't have a resource. So I have a lot of books, and the reason is because I don't want to rely on something that you could lose, like power. And that's not to instill fear, but that's just the reality. I mean, we get storms all the time. We lose power. I don't lose power as much as what I did growing up. I mean, some of the times when we lost power, we didn't get it back for a couple of weeks. I remember my sister and I collecting snow outside to bring inside to put by the fire to melt, so we had water that we could use to flush toilets and whatnot. So that's just part of my childhood and kind of things that I experienced that has made me who I am, and I'm sharing that on the podcast. So with that being said, one of the things that I wanted to really invest in was books. I wanted to invest in something that I feel like I don't need to have power if I want to go and pick up a book and research a plant that I might need that is outside for a certain individual or for myself. So the first book that I would say would be a good one to start with, and this isn't where I started, but I think this is a good foundation for herbal medicine. But it is Medical Herbalism, and it is by David Hoffman. I think that this definitely goes more into the science and the practice of the phytochemicals that are in the plant, and how they work into your body. Each herb has an action, and some herbs have multiple actions. And so when you're working with an herb, you could focus on just one herb for that action, or you could focus on combining that herb with another herb to enhance, which is the synergetic approach to herbal medicine. We combine a lot of herbs, and it doesn't cancel them out, it actually enhances them. So with herbal medicine,
my grandma's sweatshirt.
Yeah. Want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay. So that was my oldest. So with herbal medicine, understanding how the herbs work into your body, I think is a amazing thing that I think any herbalist, whether you are studying for yourself or you are actually using it and actually practicing it for other individuals, I think this is a perfect way to start. And what's nice about David Hoffman's book is that it breaks it down into the areas of the body. Like, are we working with your endocrine system? Are we working with your reproductive system? Are we working with your digestive system? And what I want to express about herbal medicine is that the whole thought behind herbal medicine is that you are picking the herbs that are going to offer the most support to bring your body back to homeostasis. The other book that I really enjoy, especially for the new herbalist that wants to understand how to make things, how to do things, the difference between infusion and decoction, what is an oxymel, what is a tincture, what could you use to tincture, what do you have to decoct, kind of the bigger, bigger picture. I've really enjoyed James Green, and he has written the Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook. So I would start with learning the foundations, understanding the systems of the body and how the herbs work in your body. Then what do you do? How do you make the stuff? Okay, so this is how you make the stuff. I also would recommend a good encyclopedia. Now this is the smaller version. This is the Herbal Remedies by Andrew Chevalier. This is a small one, okay? He has a bigger book. It doesn't necessarily have to be this, but I want you guys to get an herbal encyclopedia. And so having an encyclopedia kind of helps navigate you through everything. The other thing I like about an encyclopedia is it'll give you down below just key information. Is it safe? Who can use it? Who shouldn't use it? I'm gonna say this because I have been sharing and I'm very open about sharing. I want people to do their own research. I don't want you to strictly listen to what I'm doing and be like, oh, I can do it. I have been very honest and very open about doing your own research because it's only gonna make you a better herbalist, okay? It's only going to push you to do the research for yourself. I could probably spend, hours talking about one herb. One. What does it do? How does it work? What are the studies? How can you use it? But the big point that I want to get across is the contraindications. And the contraindications are stated. Can a pregnant woman use it? If you're breastfeeding, can you use it? If you're on certain medications, I want you to do your own research, especially if you are using herbs for yourself. And that does kind of lead me into when I share, I do receive a lot of questions. And that's something, even though it seems like a simple question, it's not necessarily a simple question for somebody who has studied herbal medicine. Because a lot of the times when I do an intake with my mom, we have a clinic that we offer for individuals that are asking the questions, or if they need help, they need guidance, or if they need somebody to work up a protocol. That time that we spend with a client, it's a little over 2 hours. I mean, 2 hours is what we kind of lot for, but in the long run, it's a little bit longer than that. But in those 2 hours, we are doing a deep dive. We are getting all the history. We want to know to even your spiritual beliefs. What do you practice? How do you connect? How do you, it's a bigger picture than that. I know I talk about how supportive the herbs are for yourself, but the herbs are not all, okay? It's part of it. It's your food that you're putting into your body. It's your environment that you're in. It's who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people that are negative and down, it's gonna weigh on you. It's gonna weigh on you. So when we do our intakes, we talk about that. We talk about your spiritual. What do? Do you pray? Do you meditate? And now I do share that a lot of the herbs I feel that have been very supportive for me. I feel an effect, I understand, but I'm not doing this all by myself. I do lean on my beliefs, and I do pray, and that's something that is part of it. At least in our apothecary, this is something that we incorporate because it's a big picture. Okay, if I'm eating at McDonald's every single day and then I introduce herbs, I might not get the same effect compared to if I would stop eating fast food on a daily basis. I just want to be mindful of that, and I want to just share with you that it is a little bit of a challenge when we do get questions like that, because that's something that we have to do a deep dive. I want to know. I want to know more. You know, it's a piece to the puzzle, and that is what I believe is herbal medicine. It is a piece to the puzzle. That's looking at your life, your lifestyle, your social, your emotional, you as an individual. If something isn't working in your life, then it's time to change it. If the food is no longer serving you as a health, you know, as your health, if what you're putting into your body is not helping you, then it's time to possibly change what you're putting into your body. If you are going through life and you're around anger and hatred and frustration and fear and stress, it is time to put that at bay and lean on the sources that you have that you can help, whatever that might be. One of the things that we do quite often is we will go outside and we will put our feet on the ground and we are here. This is what we're doing. You know, this right here, all of the stress that is aside in life. And I know I focus on adaptogens, but adaptogens are just part of, okay? Like, it's just part of it. Focus on the things that you might use to help. One that I use quite often is prayer. I when I'm feeling anxious and I've got a lot going on, I fall back on prayer. It's not a crutch, it is a tool. And that's just something I believe, and I'm okay sharing that with you guys because it's part of who I am. It's part of my introduction of you know, me and what we're doing. I'll also add to focus on adding in a good foraging book based on your location and where you're at. I put out a video back in the summer about challenging you guys to find 5 different herbs that are growing outside your front door and how you can use them. Going for a walk and taking a picture of the plant and starting to research it, and then look and see if it has medicinal properties. Look and see if it has any contraindications. How is it prepared? How is it used? You would be amazed at how many plants that are growing right outside that you would probably consider as weeds, even in your garden, offer medicinal properties. Dandelion, burdock root, oh goodness, yarrow, goldenrod. I mean, there are so many. So some of the sources that I like, because where we are at, I do like, oh, I like this one too. Where's my other one at? I might have it in my bag. Sometimes I do that. I'll take my basket on the go with me, but oh darn. Okay, I think it's in my bag. Anyways, it's the Peterson Field Guide. This is the field guide for mushrooms. Love it. But there's another Peterson Field Guide for medicinal plants. Well, I'll find it later. But the Peterson Field Guide is really good for plant identification because it breaks it down into finding the plant based off of the flower color, and then kind of navigating it through that. So I'll use that book as a field guide. And then because where we are located, I do really like Corey Pine Chain and also Liz Neves. Now this is the Southeast Medicinal, and you can go on the back and kind of look. So it's wild crafting for Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and West Virginia. This one's good. He has 106 different plants that are literally growing right outside. And it's nice because he has pictures and then the information that will tell you the preparation, what do you do with it, how do you use the plants. Liz Neves offers 111 plants, and this is kind of, it doesn't say Virginia on the back, but I did get it because I wanted to share with people who live more northeast, so more of the northern climate. And there are other books out there that are based more for your area. We're East Coast, so I want to focus on what we have kind of growing around us. And that's the best way to grow your apothecary, is to focus on the plants that you have growing right outside your front door. those are definitely good to have, but don't stop. You know, one of the things that I really love to do is when my mom and I are researching a plant, we will pull out like 8 books and read from every single author how they use the plant, what do they have experience with. Some really good herbalists: Rosemary Gladstar, David Hoffman, James A. Duke, Matthew Wood, who else? I mean, there's so many. We have a lot, but what I like about having multiple books is I like to be able to learn how that individual, how that herbalist was able to use that specific herb. Donald Yance is also very good. There are so many. So what I'm saying is you might need to get a bookshelf and possibly start collecting. You know, going to a thrift store, that is a good place to start too. And as you grow into your herbal relationship, you might let some books go. Say, you know what, this one didn't serve me that much, I'm gonna let it go. And we've done that. We've done that actually quite a bit, let a few go. As you grow as an herbalist too, I think maybe a good anatomy and physiology book along with a medical dictionary is good, because it's gonna help describe kind of what's happening. I have been lucky, I have a medical background. I worked as a surgical first assist in the operating room, so I do have that anatomy and physiology mindset. That's how my brain kind of works. I like to understand the process of things, especially with plants. But if you don't have a medical background, that's okay. You can do the research for yourself. And just having the ability to do the research is only going to make you a better herbalist, whether it's for your home, whether it's for yourself, or whether it's for your community. And all of these books are on my Amazon storefront. I have put them all there. I've made it very easy for people to just go and click and see what I use. Those were some of the big questions that I have received specifically towards herbalism. And I know that there's definitely a lot more, and I will be getting to them. So what I'll probably do is every so often we will do kind of a follow-up introduction and just kind of backtrack a little bit so that it catches people up, especially for the people who are new to the channel. Now, when it comes to spring and beekeeping, I will be doing this as well when I'm up in the apiary and I'm working, because that is another, I get a lot of bee questions, and I love it. I mean, I love it. I think it's great. If I didn't think it was great, I probably wouldn't be sharing content like I am. And if you do have a specific question that I might not have addressed in this video, put it down below. I would love to see it. I'm gonna start collecting a lot of these questions so that we can put it together, whether it is in a podcast form or another intro video here on YouTube. I'm glad I took a couple of minutes to just do a quick introduction to myself, because sometimes I forget that people are like, who is this chick? Which is fine. I'm fine with that. So thank you guys for just meeting me, and of course hanging out with me up in the apothecary. My tea is cold and I need a refill, and I'm gonna hit a good book. And yeah, as always, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and learn something old. Bye guys.